everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today on this day is another phenomenal day. I get to sit down with a gentleman by the name of Nick Jackson. He is what we call a Craveable Culture Consultant, out here teaching teams and team builders how to have a fulfilling and satisfying workspace. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with him today, learning about everything, and I do mean everything that he has got going on. Multifaceted man. But first and foremost, before I do that, I always take a quick moment to pause and say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time in your day to sit down and chat with little old me. With that, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. So honored to be here.
Awesome. Well, let me start with the first thing that you've got going on. Like I said, there's a list of things, but this Craveable Culture Consultant thing, very unique term. Could you break down what are the components of a craveable culture? What we should be looking for?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I'm old school, so I got to go back to the beginning. And not really the beginning. I got to go back to the purpose behind it. Back in the day, there was a man named Jesus, right? And people left their jobs to follow him. And it was like, why would you leave your job? And fishermen, right, would start fishing for men, but to do that, they had to get away from the lake. So what kind of culture must this person have embodied for other people to say, I'm going to follow you? Matter of fact, I'm going to drop what I'm doing, at times dropping family, dropping the foundation of funds that they're receiving, to go and do something different and better. You have to create, or Jesus had created this craveable culture in which he was actually embodying, and we get the opportunity to do the same.
Awesome. In the workplace. Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to ask you something, because that requires building a team. Like Jesus, he gathered his 12 disciples, built a team. But fast forward to 2024, there's this thing that we're constantly hearing about people saying that I'm an introvert. How do you create teams when people, I don't want to be bothered with folks. I just want to come to work and be in my little cubicle and leave me alone. Is how do you bring folks together when people don't want to be brought together?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. The great question. All right. So usually introversion really doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be away from people, but they gain energy when they get to go inside. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Extroversion gains energy when you're going externally. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of yourself. And then there's these ambiverts that go back and forth. What ends up happening usually is that we have these ties in underneath us. I'm talking purpose and passion, right? And what we do is we try to encourage people to go and follow their passion and purpose again. So we can get caught up in how we feel in crowds, or how we feel when we're alone. Those feelings are real, but underneath us, this purpose and this passion, it's still there. So what we do is we come together. We usually do it online. Sometimes we do it in person, and we challenge people. What is your purpose and what is your passion? Are you fulfilling that? Is there anything that you're missing in that? And we have discussions about this. And then at the end, when we're done discussing, we start coming up with these tenets that we have, that what a passion-filled, purpose-driven life actually looks like. That's what really gives us energy.
Awesome. Now you're talking about purpose, and let me pry a little bit so people can probably get a beat on purpose. Have you always known what your purpose has been, and has your purpose shifted over the years as you've aged and matured?
So always known my purpose. I would say no. But I've known my calling, right?
Awesome.
So the purpose is your why, right? And your calling is actually the occupation. It is the thing that you do, right? Where your purpose and your passion come together, right? So what happens with me, when I was about 3 years old, I had a vision of myself. It came in the form of a dream, and I would see this person on stage that was receiving and giving at just an exponential rate. I didn't
Mm,
know how to get there. My world didn't look like that, right? I
mm,
would get involved in jobs, and I would try to be like the other person beside me, and
mm,
and for some reason, I was never seeing that vision of myself coming to fruition. I would be frustrated. Sometimes I would
mm.
have to step back and see what my call was, right? And then start testing the waters to see where I can occupy, or where I can actually activate this vision that I've seen.
Okay. Now speak to the young folks for a minute because you do work with young people. When the first time you stepped on stage to be a motivational speaker, you nailed it, right? You nailed it out the park, right?
Let me tell you. So I started speaking to my younger brother
Mm.
in my home, very, very Christian, very conservative home,
Mm.
right? We lived in the suburbs. We were the only African American family in the area in which I lived,
Okay.
and we just so happened to have the largest house, and we had really nice cars, and there was a lot of tension. People were checking to
Mm.
see if we were drug dealers, kind of a thing, right?
Oh, gotcha.
My little brother, who actually went into drug dealing at some point in his life, right? My little brother was looking for guidance, acceptance, and some sort of love that I
Hmm.
couldn't really put words to at the time.
Okay.
I found this kind of love, acceptance, and this kind of support in the church. So the first person I started speaking to was my little brother. Now,
Mm.
it was really, really detrimental to my entire being when my brother chose another route.
Okay, gotcha.
So I have an older brother, right? And I'm the middle, right? And I got a
Hmm.
younger brother. And so my
All
older brother
boys?
all boys. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
all
pray
boys.
for
Yeah.
mama. Pray for mama. Okay.
And oh, she loved it. Mom was the toughest one in the house now. You know what I mean? She loved it. But it was trying at times to me when you pour out for someone you
Hmm.
love and they choose
Yeah.
another path. And then
Yeah.
so because that wasn't satiated, I continued to speak. It began in the living room.
Okay, so you had some practice. So when you got on stage finally in front of thousands of people, you already had practice and you were just prepared for it, right?
Let me
God,
tell
God,
you,
God was preparing you beforehand.
slammed it. I mean, it was, and so for me, I use these different things of the world, right, to bring people together. We use humor, right? We use different tones. So I'll speak fast and then I'll speak slow. We use
Mm,
volume differences. These are all things that I also learned from church, right? And
yeah,
so I was
yeah.
blessed with an opportunity to speak at a large university on a big stage, and two ex NFL players introduced me in front of like 6 or 8 thousand people. I forgot how many it was, and I remember the first time I laid the joke,
Mm,
when you set it up and you dropped it, and then everyone laughed, and then there was silence.
mm,
At that moment, we were allowed to feed. It's like a kid, you got to build trust. That
hmm.
joke built trust. And then from there, we were able to build.
Okay, great, great. Well, I'm going to put you on a quick little test here, give you a little quick little quiz here about craveable culture,
Mhm.
because I know the focus might be the workplace, but there's a couple of other different environments that I was thinking of as I was preparing for our time today, where I see craveable culture will have a significant impact, but people might not necessarily think that be a place where it fits. And the first one I want to ask you is how we create a craveable culture. And this is an area that I know that you've been in, and that's a sports team, be it Pee Wee League to professional. What are the benefits, or how do we create craveable culture when it comes to a sports team?
Yeah. Oh, great question. Oh, because I coached for multiple years, and oh, I loved it. So what we did was we moved it away from winning and losing. It wasn't
Okay.
about points. It wasn't about points. This is who we are as, and I was coaching football. I was coaching all young men, right? Who we are as men.
Okay.
Are we men that leave the door open when we walk in the house? I hope not. We're gonna
Mm,
do everything at a championship level, and we brought that craveable culture. It ended up looking like winning because we won multiple championships, but what it really was how we decide to do anything is how we decide to do everything. So how I
mm,
treat my mom is just as important as what I do after I score a touchdown. How I speak to my little brother and sister is just as important to how I speak in front of the journalists after I've won the championship. So we practice this championship culture, and then it was easy to win. It was an expectation to win championships. That's what we do. We do the same thing in the workplace culture. So we're trying to do everything at this high level, and one of those things that we need to do is listen. You know.
awesome.
And so
Listen.
I learned this from a chef. He was like, I master every meal before I go to the next one. So every dish I master, and on that dish, you have a protein, two sides, right? I will master each one of those things. I'll break it down. We're just gonna make the side excellent as I could possibly make it, and then we'll go to the other side, and then we'll go focus on the protein. Then when you get this plate, this will be excellence upon excellence upon excellence. We do the same thing on the football field.
Awesome. Awesome. Are you still coaching?
I help out with some Pee Wee guys. We got a Lord's gym team that was down the street from me. I just moved to a different area, but I would come and I would teach this culture. It's not about winning and losing. Sometimes you lose, you have a great game. Sometimes you win, you played horrible. Right? We
Mm,
can't use winning and losing as being our barometer. It's did I play to my level of excellence that I expect of myself and others?
awesome.
That's what I want to know.
Awesome. Coaches are so impactful for young people. I mean, the life lessons beyond, off and on the field are so important. So it's great. Well, let me ask you the next one because I can talk for a while. So let me get moving here. The next place where I see it's important to create a craveable culture is in a marriage, the family, and even the extended family situation. So, how do we do that, or what are the benefits of, or what are some of the aspects of creating a craveable culture in the marriage family environment?
Oh, this is so good. So my pastor this weekend was just talking about how external fights start with internal calamity. So if you want to change something externally, let's go internally and see if there's any dirt or any crooked weeds that you need to be made straight. And you can start
Mm,
this by meditating in the morning. You can start this by praying over your wife and your kids in the morning. You can start this by taking a walk with folks in the morning. And then when these other things happen, these are just other things. Now, if you haven't prepared yourself for battle, right? You're going to get
mm,
into a battle. It might surprise you, and you ain't equipped for the battle. So you go into other ways to find means of winning. Now, to answer that question, if you are in a family circle, right, and you use some self-regulation tenets, I find self-regulation really good in the Bible. But if you use these things, if you like to meditate, do that, right? If you're a Quran Torah person, that's on to you, right?
mm,
But do these things before you interact with others, and then all of a sudden, like it's easier to see every person as a child of God.
mm,
And usually, if you have a cog in the wheel, like if you have an issue with what's going on, somebody that squeaky wheel kind of situation, right? There's a reason why that the wheel is squeaking. It helps you investigate instead of play a hate. And like I've found investigating actually can cause calamity because you go ask questions about why people are acting some kind of way,
mm.
and they're going to have to trust you and be transparent to share with you, right? Because usually the issue that we're mad about is not the issue.
Oh yeah, there's something else under. By the time the issue arises, you got to get to the root. You got to get to the root.
Yeah.
You got to get to the root. And then I guess in creating this partnership and this marriage, you mentioned the conversation, the communication. People have to be open. The both parties have to be open to have that dialogue, to create that craveable culture. So
Mm.
you might have Mr. Jackson over here wanting to have a craveable culture in his family environment, but you have to partner with somebody. You have to have a helpmate that
Oh.
wants to have a craveable culture as well. So.
Do you mind if I say something on that real quick? So you just said helpmate. Now for me as a husband, as a father, right? When my wife says, I can't wait for you to tell me where we going. I trust you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that makes me pump out. Oh, I got you, baby. You know what I'm saying? It gets me all excited, right? Now, when she says, you ain't nothing, your daddy ain't nothing, your mama ain't nothing, you ain't gonna be nothing. And I've had situations with nothing. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go ahead and take this off the plate because I don't trust because of
Mm.
whatever happened over here. I
See.
I, I don't trust you, right? It encourages me to act like a boy.
Yes.
You know what I'm
True.
saying? And so,
True.
so one of the reasons why I was so just taken aback when you invited me to be on your show is that I recognize that this is a need in the world. We actually call people to position by how we speak to them.
That's right. That's right. There's powers in the tongue. You can either speak life or
Mhm.
speak death. So,
Come on.
we have to choose to speak more positively over our lives and the lives around us. If you want better expectations, you got to speak better expectations. So, well, let me move along here too. I am speak love, but I want to I want to talk about one of the components because I won't be nosy. This heads up thing that's encompassing under
Mm.
I am speak. Explain what that's about and who it's for.
Yeah. So in I Am Speak Love, what we are trying to encourage youth to do is talk, right? But not just talk in a way where we're disrespectful and we're angry, although those things come out sometimes when we
Mm-hmm.
talk. But we're trying to position our perspective on love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to speak love. When it comes to heads up, I've gone to a few different school districts where students were scared to speak up in fear that their
Mm.
family or their physical presence will be in danger.
Uh,
uh, they call this snitching, right? So if something's going on in my home, I grew up in a house like this. Family business stays in the family. You don't talk
yeah.
about family outside, right? Now, what if you're hurting? If
True.
you don't have anyone to talk to, right, and you're not allowed to talk, right, what you're going to naturally do is hurt others because that's what you've been taught. And
Mm-hmm.
I was a proponent of that. I didn't even know it until I heard somebody I really cared about, right? And I've heard a few people I really cared about, and I started thinking, is there a better way? So
Yeah.
when things were going on bad in my head or in my home, I could give someone a heads up, someone that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what Heads Up is it's an online, so all students in this specific district have a computer. It's a tab on your computer, and you get to talk about great things that you see going on either in your school or in your community that goes
Okay.
directly to your principal. You can talk about dangers, you feeling physically in danger, or you know of somebody else that may be feeling physically in danger. Like if somebody bringing a gun to school, you're hearing somebody talk about putting a gun to their head. You know if it's dire need, like somebody's about to commit suicide or commit homicide right now, you need to call the authorities. But if
Yeah.
it's just chatter,
Yeah.
a lot of times the authorities don't even know until something happens
Too late.
because the chatter was going on and we didn't address it. We didn't address it because we were worried we was going to be a snitch. I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many funerals I've done, right? Because people would rather go to your funeral than be a snitch,
Then
which
this
is so
person.
sad. That's so sad. And so we just need a heads up. So there's a positive area, right? So if you get it going to the tab, it says, is this a positive thing? Is this a safety concern? Or is this a place where you need some mental health support, right? And
Mm-hmm.
each one has different journeys. It's such a beautiful thing. And actually, this came from talking to a group of kids and us coming up with what's a way that we can communicate and take away all the negative off the table. How do we just talk?
Okay. Now I'm gonna show my age here. Proudly show my age. So kids today are in the classroom environment, they're walking around with computers. So it's like an app on the computer where they okay, so
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have the brown paper bag covering covering your books with the paper bag.
No. Yeah, you used to cover the books with the brown paper bag. Yes. Oh, I got in so much trouble. I never did that. I would get in so much trouble. You got to protect the book. Now you protect the computer. Yeah. And
Okay,
most
okay.
libraries are empty of books. They all got computers now.
Okay. So it's an app on the computer that they're carrying, and they can say, "I saw something good," and okay. So I'm gonna have to visit a school so I can see. But okay, all right.
Yeah.
So this is all up under the umbrella of I am Speak Love.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I am Speak Love. Okay. So what else is involved in I am Speak Love besides this program?
Yes. All right. So we teach the tenets of love in keynotes, conferences, and professional developments. Another thing that I've seen, and when I talk about professional developments, this is strictly for teachers. This is creating avenues of love and consistent energy towards love, towards our educators specifically. Multiple states that I've gone to, we are in a teaching drought. And
Yes.
most colleges that I go to, if I go to the education department, it is a depleted part of the school. It's almost empty when it
Mm,
used to be a competitive environment. Like it used to be hard. Like people, they would say things like, "You're not teacher material." Like now they're taking almost anybody to be a teacher because it has been almost I don't want to say treated so poorly, right? People don't want to even get involved. You're not going to get paid very much. You're going to get stuck 35 years before you get retirement. Kids are going to be disrespectful. Parents aren't going to show up. And educators now educators are acting as the role of parents, acting as
mm,
the role of coach, financial consultant. I mean, police. Like it is a very strenuous, tenuous task.
mm.
And matter of fact, one of the districts that I went to, they had turnover every 3 years, right? And like I was sitting there thinking, like, man, if you made it to your fifth year, they're like, wow, look at you. That's deep.
Wow. So no longer do we have a situation where a kid goes into a classroom and the parent says, "Oh, this used to be my second grade teacher."
Ah, that's getting few and far between. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now it still happens. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It still happens. But very rarely you have so many people retire. And this is in almost every profession. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to find, and I've been involved in recruiting Black and brown teachers across this great nation. I've been booked to go to multiple different states and speaking on the national and international level about the importance of educational excellence on all levels, right? And holding people accountable and challenging people for better. I love it.
Awesome, awesome. So the I Am Speak Love, that is for teachers, and is it for the younger generation, the kids too as well?
Yeah, it's for educational institutions, a full 360.
Okay, okay. Because I think I read somewhere where one of the core tenets that you teach is empathy. Is that
Oh
in the I
yeah.
Am?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the
Mhm.
kids are, and like I said, there's a generational shift for me because I just come from a generation where we were, we had our bullies. We had our bullies, but it wasn't as bad. Is empathy an issue that younger generation are really, really struggling with today?
It's way worse. So since we've been able to talk online and create avatars and recognize this generation was born with Google, so they don't have Encyclopedia Britannicas. They were born into social media instead of learning about social media when they're in post college years, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different situation. So you could create an avatar online and do all the nasty things that you would be doing in person, just like writing things on the wall in the bathroom. If you remember, people used to
Mm-hmm.
write stuff on the
Mm-hmm.
wall. Now they're writing it on different websites and different pages, and it's seen by exponentially more people. Before, you have to go to that stall to see it. Now that stall is exposed to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you this: as a man who is doing this work, and as a father who is, in the home teaching your children the messages that you want them to have, but you understand that you have to send them out into this world. How do you navigate that space?
Ooh, right. Okay, so I had a person in my life, a mentor friend in my life that said this one phrase: "No matter what you do, I love you. No matter where you go or what you do, I love you. I have an expectation that I want you to follow. If you fall from that, right? I still love you. My love means I'm willing to sacrifice things for your well-being. I love you." And that's not, I don't just walk into that with my children. This is with everybody's child. I just started having kids. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that needs to be heard and understood by our next generation. Because there is the funds are low, expectations are high, right? And things cost more. So with that, we're living in a world of desperation. Oh no, no, no.
Mm,
Need to be desperate. You are beautiful. You are chosen. I call my daughter beautiful child of God. That's what I call her. Every time I see it, that's what I call her. You know what I mean? And she may do some ugly things, right? But I'm like, whoa, 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 this doesn't fit the identity that we put upon you. We need to come
that's
back.
right.
You are a beautiful child of God, right?
That's right. That's right. No matter what mistakes you make, you're a beautiful child of God. And,
Hmm.
I think everybody needs to learn that lesson, that um, you get some do-overs. You get some do-overs. God's going to love you regardless. You get some
Yeah.
do-overs. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I saw something on your website, and I'm going to ask you about it more so because I'm curious about how the name came to be, not necessarily the project, but I do want you to explain the project. What is Turkey Cuts? How did that name come
Oh,
to be?
yeah. Now, turkey, sadly, because of COVID, we cut that down. But
Mm-hmm.
turkey cuts is an opportunity where we beautify women on the street. And so it started off. I was preaching in a local church, and I'm a single preacher going on dates, right? And
Mm-hmm.
these two different dates that I went on with two different ladies, right? They both said the same thing. I wish I could beautify women, right? They were both in beauty school. One had just got done, and one was still in beauty school. Then they said, I wish I could beautify women on the street, because when people come into my chair, they come one way. And then when they leave my chair, they leave another way. And I was like, oh, that's kind of deep. And I went on another date and somebody else said the same thing. They're like, you don't understand the transformational power you have when you
Mm-hmm.
beautify people and you provide the best products for the best people. And I was like, okay, so let's see if we could do that. And so I encouraged them, to come together. And the first year we did like 6 heads. We did 6 women, right? I watched their kids while these 6 women, and they were in a transitional home, meaning they were coming out of jail. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them were ex-prostitutes and drug dealers, right? And they were
Okay.
coming out of these really rough situations, and they looked rough. Ooh, they looked
Mm-hmm.
rough. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they got their hair done and they got their makeup on and they got their
Oh,
dress on, right?
beautiful.
All of a sudden,
Beautiful.
I mean, they were stunning. They weren't just beautiful, I
Beautiful.
mean, stunning. And when they saw themselves being stunning, they started straightening up like, oh, I could be pretty too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the blemishes I was trying to hide, they have nothing to do when I accentuate the things that I'm proud of, right? And I mean, like it went from 6 women on one occasion to every Thanksgiving. That's why we call it turkey cuts, because we would also
Oh,
provide
okay.
food.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Every Thanksgiving, we do 500 heads of women and children and men on the street, and it was amazing.
Beautiful. Okay, because I saw the turkey. Okay, so now it's making sense. I saw the turkey and I was like, why turkey? But Thanksgiving. But more importantly, I mean, just to hear the story of, how you just blossom the self-esteem of these people. I mean, that's just and to realize that all it takes is just one small thing,
Oh
just
yeah.
just a haircut.
Let me tell you, I've been involved in beautifying thousands of people, and I don't know how to do my own hair. You understand what I'm saying? Like I have no idea. I would be recruiting people to come to beautify that are in the beauty profession, and they had
Mhm.
to be licensed. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these different things. And then also I realized that on Thanksgiving morning, it's one of the loneliest, most depressed days of the year because a
Mhm.
lot of people are going home to their family and they don't want
Mhm.
to come looking such and much, right? So
Mhm.
like, so we had an opportunity to beautify people and then encourage them to go home with their families. Oh, it was
Mhm.
bad. Oh, let me tell you, yeah, it was bad. I could go on and on and on about it, but it was a vision that wasn't mine. I
Mhm.
was just put in the place. And what would happen is we would create this craveable culture for beautification specialists. Like people would be able to come and see the work of their own hands, right? Changing
Beautiful.
people's lives on a whole nother scale. And so I mean, I just, oof, it was awesome. I could talk about that. I'm
Beautiful.
gonna stop.
Beautiful. I like that. I love that. I love that. Let me ask you this. There are many people walking around in this world, such as yourself. Some people like to call them angels, who are full of love, who are pouring love out into this world, um, to assist others. But
Mhm.
I think what a lot of times people overlook is these angels walking this world need love poured back into them. So, what advice would you give to the folks who encounter these people like yourself to create a craveable culture, to pour some love back into them when they encounter these people who are pouring and pouring and pouring into this world?
Now I got to tell you, when you talk about angels, I'm thinking about you too. Like, come on now. I'm talking about you too. And one of the things that I've been doing, I haven't always done this,
Mhm.
is just sit at the feet. And so, like, I had the opportunity before we had this conversation, just to sit at your feet, to
Mhm.
learn from you and to receive love from you, to find out why you're doing what you're doing. And what ends up happening is I get filled, right, by you sharing what overflows you. And
Mhm.
so, so many times, especially in my area, I live in Cincinnati. In my area, there's a lot of people doing great things in silos.
Mm.
Like we don't share because we don't want to lose, right? And so what I've been able to do is not just not take from them, learn from them, sit
Mhm.
at their feet. I lose nothing as a man.
There you go. There you go. And we used to do that all the time, sit at our grandparents' feet and learn and everything like that. I don't know where we lost our way, but that's beautiful.
We stopped having grandparents. Grandparents became parents.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
speak
So it's
on
hard
it.
to sit at somebody's feet. I'm sorry. Let
Speak
me
on it. Speak
stop.
on
Let me stop. Let me
it.
stop.
Speak on it. Well, let me before I ask you my random question, because we have an obligation to pour into the next generation. I do believe that we should do our part to make sure that the next generation does it better than how we do it.
Mm.
So if you could speak to the young folks who are, like Mr. Jackson, I want to pour love into the world. I want to make the world a better place. Um, but I'm only 12, 15,
Mm.
18. Where do I start? I don't know how to do that.
Mm. So I had a young lady come to me after a presentation. We do keynotes along with conferences and PDs, and then we also have a curriculum which is all year long. This was after a keynote. A young lady came to me, and she was 12, and she said, "So I was raped by my stepfather.
Mm, mm,
Can I still be a virgin? Am I broken? People talk about me like I'm nasty, and I didn't
mm,
choose that, right?" And so, as a man, I haven't made all the right decisions with women and throughout my entire life. But I do know one thing, right? Like this young lady needed to be reinstated, right? And a lot of times, the identity that we receive from the world may turn into be our identity of ourselves, right?
mm,
And so I remember telling her, like, if you have $5 in your hand and I stole it from you, like I took it from you, right? Did you give me that $5? And she said, no, absolutely not. And I was like, what I believe is whatever I try to take from you, if I have to take it from you, if I come to you and get it without your permission, right? That's not necessarily mine. I have yours, right?
mm,
And she was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, so when you were in a situation and you weren't able to make a decision, right? Somebody who was supposed to be responsible for you took something from you. This also happened to me. Let me be real with you, right? But I didn't,
mm,
I mean, I'm talking to a 12-year-old, so I didn't say this to her. But I mean, what I was saying is those things that you feel like were taken from you, I believe get reinstated back to you. See,
mm,
you still possess that $5. Somebody said it was taken from you. The behavior that was done unto you is not fair. I was like, that $5 is still yours. You are still $5 richer than what you thought you was before. And I need you to operate your life, no matter what anybody else tells you, right? As if you have received and no one can take what you have received. It is yours. You are a virgin, period. Go
there you
back
go.
into the world, right?
There you go.
And she bump her
Put
little
a
chest
check.
out. Yeah. She was like, I didn't give that away. I do have everything I had this
Thank
morning.
you.
You know what I'm saying? And to see that, and sometimes that's what we need to do with our youth. We
Hmm.
tell youth not to feel and not to talk about feeling. We got all this drama going on all around them, and we expect them not to operate in drama when we taught them the drama.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
Speak
what we
on it.
need to do is reinstate, re-identify the beauty that they can never release.
There you go. There you go. I like it. Well, let me one more question before I ask Reverend. You have boy, girl, 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 boy, boy. Your father?
Yes, yes, yes. I have a 15-year-old girl
Hmm.
and I have a 9-month-old boy.
Oh,
So
bless
I
your
got
heart,
it right now, girl, boy.
girl, boy. So when they get to be 20s and they're sitting at your feet having a conversation, what would you hope they say? You know what, Dad? Thanks to you, I learned what.
Mm. So when they turn 20, I pray that they say, I learned that I have something to believe in. I have
Mm,
something to lean on. It's
mhm,
not all on me. And it's not just me trying to make you proud, right? It's about me honoring the love that I've already received. I that's what I hope and pray. I hope and pray that they recognize that there is a system of love for them
mm.
and they get to share that
That's right. That's
and
right.
receive more of it.
That's right. That's right. So much can be, and I think people get misconstrued with this concept of love because they believe that to love somebody you have to bring them into your inner circle. You can love people
Mhm.
and treat them with respect and honor them, but it's not always going to be a situation where we're breaking bread.
Right?
But and I think that spreads in it just exudes into the world and creates a better atmosphere and world spaces that were lived in when you operate in love.
Mhm.
And understand that that doesn't mean that, I'm opening my front door for you and hey, sit on the couch, so
Now, at times you will have that opportunity, but sometimes
yes.
in passing, like I
Hmm.
can I can sacrifice for you just by I may be feeling some kind of way about my day, and I am not even withholding. I am treating you and I'm sacrificing for you in a loving way just by smiling and saying hello, right?
That's it.
Asking you a question is one of the ways that I love, and listening and giving you my attention is another way that I love.
That's
And,
right.
and, and it's contagious. Just like if we don't say hi and we don't open up the door and we don't act with character, that's also contagious. If you having a bad day and you speak in hate, that is contagious. And as a powerful person, you will find that your domino effect is what you don't want to see in the world. So you have an opportunity to produce and be what you want to see.
There you go. We need to like replicate you and the energy all around, just all around.
I feel the
Okay.
same way about you. Come on now. Come on.
No, no. Thank you. I'll take. I'm working on saying thank you. I'm trying to. Okay, let me ask you my random question here.
And I need to say thank you. I received that. Thank you.
Yeah, I struggle. I try to play it off. I'm realizing that. Okay,
Mm.
let me go ahead and ask this. Let's see what we got here. My readers are on here. Okay, you don't have to tell me the name. You can just say yes or no. Okay. Do you still remember the name of the first person you had a crush on?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. I don't want to get you in any trouble here.
I remember. Yes. Yes.
You remember, yes. Okay.
Yes.
So tell us how we connect with you if we want to book you to come to speak,
Yeah.
talk to the kids or the adults in
Yeah.
between. How do we get in touch with you?
So if you're on the corporate level and you're looking for corporate keynotes or corporate coaching, right? Nick Jackson Speaks is your way to go. Please,
Okay.
nickjacksonspeaks.com is, and that's nickjacksonspeaks.com. We try our best to always be available over there for you. If you're an educational institution, and I'm talking from administration, teachers, students, and parents, right? It's I am Speak Love. We put that I am in there on purpose. I am speaklove.com.
And the hold on here, the heads up that will be available to like school districts and everything.
Yes, yes, definitely. Reach out to us at imspeaklove.com. We'll start that conversation because every district is going to need something a little different in that heads up
Oh,
because there are going to be different needs for each district,
okay.
each district. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me your time. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I just appreciate a brother out here just giving love to the world. I mean, let's just kudos to that first and foremost. And just from little old me, I mean, sometimes we don't get it enough. I just want to say thank you. Just thank you for being you. So
Amen. Amen. I
that's all.
received that. Now it's hard for me not to say thank you too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to receive. I'm learning from you. I'm sitting at your feet. Thank you. I received that.
Awesome. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.